right as I was trying to add Tristan, I hope Tristan comes back. Right as I was trying to add Tristan, my connection was completely lost. So hopefully Tristan shows back up and I will add him. Right as I was trying to add Tristan, like my whole connection just like crashed. Okay. Well, I hope this works. I just tried it.
Hello?
Hi, Tristan.
Hey. Sorry, I
Hello.
look a little rough right now. I just got off work.
No,
I
you're
am like literally I am so sorry about the other day. It's just I had a lot of people come at me for something I didn't understand about. Like I really didn't know nothing that's going on. I just go over there, you know?
yeah.
And like I found out through my parents about the whole situation. And so after like I had people like DMing me and was like basically who just like they call me a predator because of it. I was like, you don't understand. Like, trust me, I've been in the same situation. Sorry, I stutter a lot, by the way. I've been in the same situation, and like I've dealt with things like that, and I don't like me personally. I don't think that it's okay. Hello, everyone. But me personally, I don't think that it's it's all right to do that. Yes, I do agree on you with that, but I just didn't like how people was, just coming at me, even if they wouldn't even let me talk to them. When I tried to explain to them my opinion on it, I got
Yeah.
blocked before I did it. And so it just got me to the point where I was just like really fed up and just really upset about it because I shouldn't be going through that. Like I told other people that text me about the situation. I'm a college student. I don't really worry about other people's stuff, I just stay to myself. But I was stressing through my final because of the whole situation.
Yeah.
But, I just thought of just, being a bigger person about it and not even like worrying about it. Yes, I'm still friends with Jed. I don't know who that is, but I'm the type of person like I stay to myself. I don't know if there's been like videos of me at their house or anything, but I'm a quiet person. I do not like a big group of people. I surround myself like in a small place at their house.
Yeah.
I don't like being around a big group. And I'm still working on it because Jed's helping me out to be talking. Like I'm really, really shy. Sorry,
Try
I'm
to
stuttering, everyone,
I
by
don't
the
know if
way.
you're involved in the IBLP, but try to stay out of that.
I literally don't even know what's all going on. I just found out like not even
Did
a
they tell
week
you
ago.
anything about this happening?
Huh?
Did they tell you anything about this going on?
Mm-mm.
Well,
Nope.
so this blindsided you, I'm guessing.
Well, I think they just didn't want me to get into it, stop being friends with them because of the whole situation. Like I said, I really do care for them. Like I love them a lot. Like they're my second family because I grew up in a bad like situation like when I was younger and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so they actually been there for me. And it's just hard. I'm just like basically in the middle, you know, where like I
I
don't
mean,
know
I
what
think
to do.
people in the chat are saying you deserve to know the truth because what he was doing was really serious. And if I was your mom, I would want to know, like, if I was sending my kid over to somebody's house, if I'm going to be sending my kid over to somebody's house that has a predator in their home.
Hmm.
So, that's kind of a big thing that but nobody was accusing you. And I think in general, they just didn't tell anyone, and that's not okay. Like, I think those are kind of things you should disclose to your friends.
Yeah. I just as you can tell, me and Jed are really good friends, and honestly I don't feel like I could do anything without him because he's actually, like he's been a good friend to me. Tristan needs to stop talking and get out of this chat. Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's that person?
I don't know. I can't. So
Oh,
much
we
people are.
love you. Please get away from the Duggars, they said. Well,
Yeah.
just
Then there was one that said something about like I need to get out the chat. I don't know the person, but
no, you don't have to leave the chat. Don't worry. No.
I'm sorry.
People are saying like be careful with this family. There's a lot happening right now. That's all they're trying to say. And they're also trying to say like this is a they're in a cult. So be careful. Like don't get sucked into that.
Yeah. But now do you understand my point of view about it?
Yeah, no, and I didn't direct any of that to you. So I don't know why I got called out for it. I never mentioned
It's
anything about
because okay, so like the people that text me are from your page because like I followed them and they followed you, so I automatically assumed that I got directed at something
oh
because
no.
it was just weird because like I posted something on my story or whatever, and I just had like people just blowing my phone up, and
Yeah.
basically called me a monster, a pedophile, and I was like, I don't I don't support none of that. Like that's me. I also don't vote, so y'all ain't gotta worry about me voting because I don't vote because I don't. I just worry about myself, you know. Like
I
I'm just a
no, I mean
college kid that.
I think there was a lot of anger towards a lot of people, but I certainly never brought your name up. I haven't even I
Yeah,
had that's
that's why I wanted to apologize to you because I felt really bad about it, and I think when that happened, I wasn't having a really good week because of finals, and I was just stressing about everything, and plus that, and I just felt really bad because of the situation. Like I'm the type of person I'm really respectful, and I get to like I'm really friendly to everyone. I don't try to be mean to no one. Like if I'm mean to someone, that's like rarely. Like I don't be mean at all. Like that's just me.
yeah.
And so like Jez
Or what
Jez
people doing
huh?
this to, I think I don't know. Like I would never encourage anyone to reach out to anyone and bother them at all. Like people are outraged, which is sad. I mean, it's indirectly everyone affiliated with the Duggars is getting hate right now, and that's certainly not fair.
Yeah,
Um,
because it really did hurt my feelings. I my emotions it they just it happens so quick because of my lifestyle. So, and I'm trying to break myself out of that shell, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But
I do not like when people troll other people. I don't encourage that. Like, if people send me messages of like, I sent this comment on somebody else's, I never endorse that. Like, I always tell people to like leave them alone. Don't be mean to them. Like, don't bully other people. That's not my style at all.
yeah,
And I've always been
well,
really nice to you. So I was like, why are you mad at me, Tristan? I've been,
I'm sorry. I just had a crazy week. Honestly, I just having just a lot just right now, and I shouldn't have done that to you, honestly.
Tristan, okay,
But
this is Tristan is Jed's friend. Okay. Tristan was an usher in Jed's wedding, right? Is that right? Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And Tristan and I don't even know, around Jed's wedding, I started like, I sent him a DM and we started chatting and stuff. And like, he started following me. And so I guess last week, a bunch of people were going into Tristan's like DMs or something and like calling him a pedophile and a predator. And so then he got really upset and he thought it was coming from me. And that definitely wasn't coming from me because I like didn't even talk about him. And so he was like worried that I was like calling him a predator. And so he made a story on Instagram and then he's just apologizing, saying that he realized now that I didn't do that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I felt really guilty about it. And I just thought it was best for me to apologize for my actions because
No,
I
that's
could have
good.
done it a lot better. I really could have.
There's just going to be a lot of eyes at the Duggars house, like a lot of government eyes. So I would just, be careful. That's, I think, all people in the chat are trying to say to you is just be careful. Like, that's it. Like, be careful. You
Hmm.
seem like a good kid, you know.
Yeah, all I try to do is stay positive and, you know, have a better life than when I was raised in. Just try to stay positive, basically.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Well, I'm glad
I'm,
you're in school. I'm glad you're in college. That's awesome.
yeah, it's stressful. College is stressful, y'all.
You
I
didn't
thought it
didn't you
would
just
be,
graduate like last year?
no, I actually graduated this year, but I'm going back to school for my business
You graduated from high school last year or this year?
this year. I graduated from the college I was in this year, but I'm going back to school to get my graduates.
So
Or
do you have your bachelor's degree already?
I have my associates.
Oh, you have your associates and now you're going to work on your bachelor's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's
Yep.
awesome.
That's what
College,
my plan is.
college is stressful. And it's also when you're in finals, it's like you get into the final fog and like the final tunnel.
Yeah, I thought finals would be just like high school. Yeah, it's not.
No. I used to
I,
be in my for hours and hours and hours when I was doing finals.
yeah, my mom, she always check up on me about my finals, and I did pretty good. I would say I did pretty good for my final, but it could have been better. But I
It's
think it's all
hey,
right.
it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm gonna get off here. I am truly sorry how I
no,
acted to you.
you're fine.
We could talk another time whenever I have time.
Okay.
It's about time for me to put my phone up.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll see everyone. See y'all later, y'all.
Bye, Tristan.
Bye.
I don't know how to. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, that was Tristan. Um, he's a sweet kid. He's friends with Jed. Okay. Okay, that's just a good segue. It's kind of what I was talking about is how emotionally charged up people are right now. So people are like so emotional because of this verdict, and it's exposing things about this family that people didn't want to know about, or it's bursting their bubble. And unfortunately, there are people affiliated with the Duggars that are getting destroyed unfairly because of their connections. Um, but you shouldn't be going after people's friends or anything like that. And um, he can be friends with whoever he wants to be. That's totally his right. Everyone has a right to say, be careful, you know, be careful. I think the polls are closed. She said at 7:30. So yeah, don't send hate to people. It's awful how they're treating Jana. Okay, here's the thing about Jana, you guys. And this was another thing that I was going to uh, talk with you guys about. Hold on a second. Sorry. Okay. Here's the thing. Jana got a citation for child endangerment, okay? And that citation is real. It really happened. And I was working on the FOIA for the police report, which I was not able to get. But what Jana said about what happened isn't true. according to the reports, the court records, and the police report. So that's all I'm saying. Just because you love someone do I know the details? So what I've been told and what I know from the court records are the following. On September 9th, Jana was babysitting. Anna and Michelle were not there. So I spoke with someone who knows all of the details. So Jana was home. She was babysitting, and Anna and Michelle were not there. And she was sleeping, apparently. Okay. And she fell asleep. And while she fell asleep, one of the little ones, Josh's youngest at the time, went outside and was gone for hours. Hours, I was told. So they were at the house, and the little one ran, I don't even know, across the yard, over by a pond, up a hill, over to another road. Okay. The child was found by themselves on the road, not right in front of the property of the house. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon when this was all going on. And so mom shaming is not happening. I'm literally just telling you guys what happened. So when the child is up there, this witness finds the baby. At the time, I think she was like 21 months and 3 weeks, or 21 months and 2 weeks. Okay. She's far away from the house at this point for a toddler. I mean, she's a toddler. That's kind of like, if it was like an older kid, it wouldn't have been maybe a big deal, but this is a little toddler. So she's by herself, and she's on this road by herself, and the person finds her by herself, and they try to figure out who the kid belongs to, where the kid is from. Okay. So they call the police, and the person who finds the little one stays with them, and the police come, and they are like, this might be a Duggar. Okay. So I'm just calling them a little one. Like, really? Do you have to like tell me how to like say what I'm saying? This is so seriously. Okay. So they find this little one. I mean, the toddler. I don't know what else you want me to call this. Like, are you going to nitpick everything I say? Anyways, I'm not, no. Anyways, so they go to the house, and they see Jana, and she was asleep, I guess, or something. They ask Jana, is this someone from this house? Like, is this child with you? And apparently she denied that she knew the child to the police. So Jana told them she apparently didn't know, according to like this, I guess this is in the police report, that she didn't know the child, and that no children were missing. And this was hours apparently later. So I don't know who the child is. I don't know. No one's missing. It was really Jana. So then they were going to take her to the police report. They were going to take her to the station. They just wanted to interview her. No, Jana was just napping. No one said anything about Lauren. People are just, oh my gosh, I'm turning off comments. I'm going to turn off comments because people are taking me completely out of context. People are putting words in my mouth. I never said the name Lauren. I said nothing. I said Jana was sleeping. I was told the police went to the house. I was told they knocked on the door. I was told Jana spoke to the police. They said, "Is this child yours?" And I was told that Jana allegedly denied that she knew the baby or she knew the child. And she allegedly told police that she did not know that child and that no child was missing. The child at this point had been missing and out for hours. Hours. So apparently, she's asked by the police to go to the station to just talk out what's going on. And she agreed. And then apparently, in the last minute, she decided, I'm not going to go. So she agreed that she was going to follow them to the station. That didn't happen. She stayed back. She backed into the house and called her lawyer. And then apparently the lawyer told the police that Jana wasn't going to talk to anyone about anything. So what I was told was it wasn't like a just quick outside thing. It was like the little girl had been gone for hours. I was told she told the police she did not know who the child was. I was told she told the police she was going to go with them, and then she backed the car back and decided not to go with them. And then she brought the lawyer in, and then the lawyer said that they weren't going to cooperate. And when that happened, they had no other choice but to cite her, because had she just told the truth, she probably would have been able to get out of it. But the fact that she, like I was told that she lied, and then she said she was going to go with them and then didn't go with them, and lied about knowing the kid. The kid was safe, yes, but it wasn't like a situation where the kid just snuck out and it was like 2 minutes. It was, I was told, hours. Now they have a right to like put out whatever they want about it. She wasn't arrested, I was told. There is a citation. That's correct. I was also told the DHS investigation is not closed. I was also told that because I got the court records, like literally 2 days ago, I got the court records, and the court records showed that there was an ongoing DHS investigation, because they weren't, basically what the records stated is that certain parts of the case would not be released because of the ongoing DHS investigation, and that investigation notes through the Child Maltreatment Act of Arkansas. That's the act. I'm not saying the child was maltreated. That's just what the act is called. They wouldn't be releasing that information. So it had a corresponding case, is what I was told. So I confirmed that that case was still going on. So it's not closed. And the police report or the citation is also not closed. So she didn't take a plea deal. I confirmed that. She pled not guilty. She also paid a fine, but it wasn't the fine for the charge. She has to go to a bench trial in January, where the judge will figure out what happened and they'll decide. DHS's case is not closed though. So, but it's like, it's good that the little girl wasn't like hurt, right? But it wasn't like a quick little thing, and a little toddler out in a road, for hours by themselves. I think it's just the wider issue here of that when people see someone that they really value and they really admire, and that they do something that they believe is out of character for them, it's hard for them to accept. And what she did is not the end of the world, right? It's not, the child is okay, right? That doesn't make her a horrible person, right? So nobody is saying, oh, Jana, we hate you. And oh, Jana, like we all can empathize that she is being forced to be doing the daycare, like why is this all falling on Jana, right? But she was supposed to be the babysitter that day. That's the truth. Like, she had agreed to do that and she fell asleep. So that's what we were told. Whether or not any more details will come out, I don't know. Right now, there's not a gag order. I agree, verified that. There's no reason why the police report can't be released other than they decided not to. But I made a post earlier about how Tontitown had made the decision to not release it to anyone outside of Arkansas. And the only reason I mentioned this is because they seem to pick and choose what they wanted to release. The court had no problem releasing the information. Like, I literally put in the FOIA. They knew I was out of state. They sent me over the information. I contacted the administrator at Tontitown and I told them I was out of state. And they were like, here's how you can request it. They directed me to how to request it. And they're like, there you go. Like, they knew ahead of time where I was requesting from. And there was a drop down on there that stated, where I clearly stated that I was from out of state. So yes, they could deny the request, but they don't always. They can also not deny the request. So because police reports are public record, anyways, that was kind of only my only point there, was like, they allowed it in one case and then they didn't in the other case. Jim Bob does have connections with the Tontitown police. That was kind of my only, like, well, maybe they are trying to keep it quiet. I don't know. There has been, Jim Bob did sue the city of Springdale about police reports being released. So that was my other question, was like, did he threaten to sue? And is that why they're being like a little gun shy here about not releasing this report? That kind of thing. It wasn't like this implication that we're like, oh, like, you know, it was more like, well, they released these, but not this. And I hope that makes sense. But again, me reporting that is literally just saying, this is what happened. This is what she said happened. This is what I'm told was what happened by other people. And they don't match. The problem here is that happens a lot with the Duggars. And this is what I was told. And again, you can do this with what you want. It's up to you how you decide how you feel about this. But Derek Dillard, I think, was very clear today when he went onto his Facebook, and he made this comment where he said that Jim Bob is a liar, right? He lied to my wife and I numerous times. Contrary to this campaign, he does not believe in freedom, but he has manipulation. But his manipulation has resulted in what is akin to human trafficking. When he's confronted privately, he is not humble, but he is defensive and verbally abusive. When he says he cannot be bought, the truth is he has a history of being a sellout for anything that can personally profit from, and will justify it however he wants to continue his personal agenda. Again, he has been lied, continues to lie, and is this someone that you want in your whatever, okay? So when you have his own son-in-law and then his former best friend saying that Jim Bob is a freaking liar, and then you realize that he's right there saying what he has done is akin to human trafficking. When I've told you before that the kids don't have freedom, that is what he's talking about. Like, the kids under Jim Bob's control are not allowed to do anything that Jim Bob doesn't say. And for some reason, he's able to exert that control, whether through threats of lawsuits or threats of whatever, threats of damnation, spiritual abuse, telling the kids that if they defy him, they're going to go to hell and their whole lives are going to blow up and they're going to lose everything. Making kids feel like they emotionally cannot leave or defy him because he has designated himself as like the prophet, the anointed one, the person that, is the authority, making them feel like if they defy the umbrella, their whole family's going to fall apart. That's what he's talking about with like the manipulation. And it's brutal for these kids. The fact is that not all of them buy into that anymore. And the ones that have left that and realize that it's bullshit are now dangerous to Jim Bob because they threaten that control he has. So Jim Bob, his daughter Jill, who was his favorite daughter. If anyone knows how much Jim Bob loved Jill, like Michelle and Jim Bob depended on Jill for everything. She was like the girl that was like the nurse, and she was the one that loved to like get the kids dressed and take care of them. She was like, she was the caretaker. She was like, and she was the rules follower. So she was the one that would keep them in order and tell them they had to do things and direct them. And, you know, did you ever see the episode where they moved Josh to DC and Jill was like around sort of coordinating what everyone was doing? Like that was Jill. Like that, she was dependable for them. But then she woke up and she realized that her dad lied to her about everything. Like everything. And when she went to get the truth from him, he lied to her again. And now, from the outside looking in, they see all these kids stuck that they can't help, that they can't get out. And those kids are all liars because they listen to their dad. They don't know that they're liars. They don't know that their dad is lying. They don't know that when they speak, they're lying. They are also instructed by their father to lie. Like Jill was told to defend Josh on Megyn Kelly. She didn't want to do that interview. Like Derek flat out has said on his Instagram, she did not want to do that interview. She did not want to be on the show after that. She did not want to talk about it. And she had to do that. She had to defend him. She had to forgive him. Right? Because that's what Jim Bob wanted. But she woke up and she realized that that wasn't what she wanted, and she realized she had been lied to. And Ginger woke up. And Ginger woke up and realized that she had been lied to. And Joy is waking up right now. And Joy has realized that she has been lied to. And Jason has one foot, one leg in the big boy pants. But he's not there yet. And the rest of them are too scared to put the pants on. Okay? So another factor at play here is not only does he have the control and the power that Derek is described, he's controlling their income, he's controlling their financial lives, he's controlling their spiritual lives, he's controlling their emotional and psychological lives, he controls their information to the world, their access to what he believes is right and wrong, and limits what they can and cannot see. And that's all mind control. And the thing is that what he's doing is what the IBLP tells him to do. Jim Bob Duggar is like following the IBLP model to a T. He's acting in the interest of what the IBLP teaches him to do. He's like a Bill Gothard. You know, he's doing what the IBLP says. So effectively, what the IBLP is doing is it's teaching men how to become abusive, patriarchal, like dictators of their families. And they start like their own little cults within their family. But what happened with Jim Bob is that he got famous. And not only was he able to control his family, but then he was also to recruit people to Arkansas to move there. And so now there's a lot of people in Arkansas that are in the IBLP. Someone today told me that their attorney is someone elite in the IBLP, that Gregory Payne is a member of the IBLP. At Josh's hearing, or at his, and Travis Story, that's his law firm. So there, it's an IBLP connection there. Okay. And then David Waller, who was a leader in the IBLP, was seen with Josh daily, carrying briefs and boxes, supporting Josh, protecting Josh. And the IBLP is scrambling right now because if they lose the Duggars, the IBLP will fail. If the Duggars go down, they're the most influential family in that cult. They bring in the most people to the conferences. There's all kinds of people that rely on the Duggars for their businesses because of it. Like Terry Forsyth has a camp. That's Austin's dad. And he relies on Jim Bob to fill his camp through conferences that are by the IBLP. So people, even if they want to disconnect from Jim Bob, could be financially ruined because then they have to they have to disconnect from the IBLP. So there's all these layers of control and of power. Jim Bob does not have an official leadership role in the IBLP, but there's no doubt based on the size of his platform and his fame that he is the most influential in the cult. And he knows that. So when you have that kind of control, fame, power over people, it can make you intoxicated and make you feel untouchable. And it also can make you, they're taught to lie in this cult. They're taught to they are taught in this cult verbs, nouns, and they're not even told it to be the truth. They think slander is the truth. If you ever listen, slander is not the truth, right? Slander is false. But they describe slander as the truth, as gossip. So you're not supposed to tell on anyone because that's slander. But that's not what slander is. Slander is actually lying about someone. It's not gossip, or it's not telling someone. Like, they literally tell people not to tell anyone about anything. It's very high control in every facet of their lives. So Jim Bob has that control, and it's very scary for people right now because when you have someone in that kind of power position kind of scrambling right now, people get afraid. They're afraid for their lives. They're afraid for their financial lives. They're afraid for their safety. You just don't know what can happen in a situation like that. And then you've got his kids that refuse because of their indoctrination and their complete and utter dependence and inability to think for themselves, incapable and sort of like, I don't even know, stunted and paralyzed. Stunted and paralyzed. It's not normal. I'm going to say this again. I said this in a video today, but I want to say this again because I know that the Duggars see this, and I want people to understand it's not normal to be a 25-year-old man or a 30-year-old woman and have your dad tell you what to do. It's not normal for your father to control what happens in your house that he does not live in. It is not normal to be told where to work, who to have friends with, what to post. Once you are 18, you are technically what's called an adult. And your father is supposed to allow your wings to grow and go. It's not the job of a father or a parent to keep a child in infancy and dependency. The job of a parent is to teach a child so that they can become a productive adult and contribute to society and to have their own life. It's not the job of a parent to control someone, because children are not the property of a child. Like, children are not our property, period. Even though my son is my son, if I did something really bad to my son, the state would have a right to take my son, right? because at the end of the day, he has his own autonomy. He's his own person. He has his own rights. What this cult has done and what Jim Bob has done is he has stripped the personal freedoms from his children who believe that they cannot and will not survive without him. And that's scary. So then you have kids that are adults that are having children that can't even take care of themselves, are following his directions, and without him couldn't feed their families. Can you tell me how this is normal? You have a 31-year-old woman. For every single person that tells me that Jana's doing whatever, the only reason Jana is there is because she doesn't know she can leave. They have conditioned her to believe she cannot move out. They have told her she has no authority to move out. She has been told that as long as she is not married, she is the property of her father. It is 2021. Nobody is anybody else's property. And that is why Derek says that what Jim Bob is doing is akin to human trafficking. Our children are not our property. His adult children are not his property, and he is treating them like their property. And then he threatens their livelihoods, their safety, and their well-being and their spiritual well-being when they want to leave. And when they do leave, they are treated like Jill, and they are told that they're dangerous to their family and they are horrible people. When the son is convicted of crimes against children, the daughter is blamed for lying in court, or that she lied that he punched Josh, and that she's making that up and it didn't really happen, even though both Josh and Jill agree that it happened. Jim Bob is telling people that it didn't happen. And with the Jana situation, they are scrambling and lying about what happened. And they want to say that they're being persecuted because of this. And that's just not the case. If you are in charge of taking care of a child and your job is to be awake and take care of that child, if that child is found on a road where they could be hit by a car or they could have drowned in a pond, you can be charged with child endangerment because you're putting that child's life at risk. It doesn't mean that something bad happened. It just means that something bad could have happened. Like your negligence could have led to serious risk or harm. That baby could have been hit by a car and killed. So instead of actually just being the responsible human that most of us would be, right? So most of us would just accept it and be like, yes, I fucked up. This is what happened. They are so worried about their outward perception of like who they are because the IBLP tells them that they have to be fucking perfect, that they will lie and obscure the facts so that they don't look as culpable as they are. So his motive right now is to just make it seem like it wasn't anything and we're going to minimize it. But the problem is that the kids that are minimizing this, they know they're lying. Like Jana and Jessa know that they're lying when they put those posts up, but they don't care because their dad tells them to put that up. And I hope you guys understand that it's not that I don't like them, but they're adults being told what to do. They're 30, almost 30 years old and 31, almost 32 years old. And they're doing what their dad tells them to do. And they're minimizing child neglect. That should concern you. That should concern you. And then when you put this into the totality of the Duggars and how they didn't protect their daughters from Josh, and you think about probably all the CPS investigations has been. So there was a AMA, an Ask Me Anything on Reddit of a former security guard. And the security guard said that John David flew one of Josh's kids to Texas to avoid CPS. for a welfare check. And it was around the time that the Ashley Madison stuff came out. And then it was also around the time that the allegations around like what he did to his sisters came out. And they were trying to avoid the scrutiny. So I actually talked to a source that confirmed with me that that literally did happen. So I was like, okay, so that person isn't lying. So they said that that did happen. And they said that they did that because of the pressure that they were under around Josh's allegations, and that they flew him to a doctor who's in the IBLP in Texas. People that are willing to put their children at risk to avoid CPS, that's dangerous for the child. When you are avoiding accountability, you're ripe for creating an abusive situation, which is why these kids don't think twice when they start training their children and using blanket training. Their mom and dad have told them it's okay to use a rod and to hit their kids, and it's godly and it's biblical, and they don't think twice. They think that they're supposed to make sure that their kids are perfect. They don't talk, they don't react, they don't have emotion. Do you know what the IBLP does to children's emotions? It kills their emotions. These kids grow up with no affect, disconnected and disassociated, because they're not allowed to be children. They're not allowed to smile or cry. They're not allowed to feel sad. They're not allowed to process things. When something bad happens, there's no such thing as digging into that trauma. It's apologize and move on. And it's your fault because it happened to you and God's trying to teach you a lesson. No counseling, no help, nothing. Kids aren't allowed to feel sad because bitterness is akin to witchcraft. And if you get bitterness in your heart, then you're going to become a rebel. And if you become a rebel, God forbid, rebels turn into people that listen to rock music, and then they get arrested because, God forbid, rock music will make you want to do satanic things. When in truth, Bill Gothard didn't like rock music because he was a massive racist. And did you know rock music actually comes from rhythm and blues, which was where? Originating from the African American community in the 1920s and 30s. Bill Gothard was a massive racist. Okay? And so are a lot of the people in the IBLP, because they've been told by Bill that all these things are bad. And they worship the Confederate people, and they don't like equality, and they don't want anyone to have any rights other than men. So the kids literally don't have any emotional intelligence. They don't know how to get connected to their emotions. They don't know how to get in touch with themselves. They don't know how to feel. And they're just so used to having someone tell them what to do, what to say, and how to think. Every part of their lives are controlled. What they wear, what they say, what they eat, who they talk to, what they listen to, what they read. It's a cult. There's no freedom of thought, of independence. There's no ability to be original. There's no personal originality. You don't get to have any sort of self-worth or self-identity because that's selfish. They literally say others first, God first, then others, then self. And then if you actually want to do something for yourself, then you're considered selfish. Or if you're a wife, God forbid, you want your husband to do something, or you're not happy with something that your husband is doing, that's entitlement. You are not entitled as a woman to ask your husband for anything. You are supposed to just suck it up and accept what your husband is giving you, and you're not entitled, because entitlement is bitterness, and bitterness gets in your heart, and it's akin to what? Witchcraft. And it's all fucking bogus. These people believe that all of that is going to lead them to hell. They're being held hostage spiritually under the threat that their lives are going to be destroyed if they step out of line. Now that's the life they live. So don't idolize these people. Don't look at them and be like, oh, they're such honest people. No, actually, they're not honest people. Jim Bob is telling them to lie and teaching them how to lie. And the cult is teaching them how to lie. I know that hurts your heart to think that they would lie, but it's the truth. And I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. It doesn't mean that you can't like them. It just means that I'm being completely honest. And I hate to break this to you. They wouldn't like you anyway. They don't like outsiders. They don't. They will judge you. So you might love them, but they do not love you. They want you. They're only going to like you as long as you want to join their cult. And if you don't want to join their cult, they don't care about you. If there's IBL people in the chat or that are watching me, hit the hearts and tell me that I'm getting this wrong. Like, tell me that I'm doing this right. Because if you're in the IBLP, hit some hearts and show me this, what I'm telling you is right. Because this is their life right now. That's their life. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the chat just for a few minutes. I'm not going to stay on long, but I had to say that. I just want to remind people that just because something was one way on TV doesn't mean that that's the reality. And TLC put on a show for you and it wasn't the truth. Literally every single thing that you saw on that show was orchestrated and scripted by the show. These people wouldn't have done these things in their normal life. Like all of the trips they went on and all of the places that they went to and all of the things that they did, that was by TLC. That was not their family. So what you saw on TV was not the Duggars. If you would have seen the Duggars, you would not have liked them. And what you're seeing right now is the Duggars, okay? And they lie. TLC is gross. And anyone that believes that TLC doesn't know and didn't know, not true. Yeah, we do need a show called Escaping Jim Bob, but we need the IBLP to not be here. They made them so much money that they didn't care. You agree with everything that I have said. TLC turned a blind eye. Yes, ban the IBLP. The IBLP, if I'm being honest, should be like a terrorist organization. Because in reality, they're kind of like, you know how people are always like, well, you never talk about what's happening in Arab countries and you never talk about the Taliban and you never talk about Sharia law. Well, that's because what's happening in the IBLP is freaking basically the same. The women are treated identically. They have no rights. Did you know that a lot of these kids, especially the girls, had no education? Like literally, not educated, barely getting their GEDs. Yeah, he's like the Tom Cruise of the IBLP. No. Their lack of education is so clearly and visibly it's so easy to see when you see how they interact on their social media, when you see how they type, when you see how they have no social skills, they have no social acumen, they don't have social intelligence, they don't have emotional intelligence because they have been taught how not to be any of those things because of the IBLP. All of the kids are in, all of them, all of the kids are still in it. The only ones that are out are Jill and Ginger. And obviously Joy and Austin are sort of disconnecting right now. But John is in it. They're all they're all in it. They're all in it. They're all under Jim Bob. Last night I was flat out said, this is what someone told me last night. John David, Josiah, Joseph, Jed, Jeremiah, James, Justin. Did I forget one? They're not going to speak out for their sisters. They're not going to defend their sisters. This is what I was told. That if they defend their sisters, their dad is going to like disown them. And so they're too cowardly. Like literally that's what my source said. They're cowards. It is cowardly to allow the abuse to happen and not speak up, and just because you want the plane or you want the boat or you don't want to work, and this is the other complicated factor here, is that they grew up where they didn't have to work because their dad was on a show and they made money. And so their dad would just say, well, you don't have to do this because, I'll flip you this and I'll do this for you. And, but they never had their own incomes, their own salaries. The Bates are in the same cult. They're victims of the system, but they have plenty of people around them and exposure to the real world at this point, that at some point you have to realize that you are a victim to the system, but there is a way out. And so you can't just use, I grew up in a cult and that's the excuse, because every person in this world has a responsibility to being a citizen of the United States. And so you have to accept your responsibilities as an adult. And people leave every single day, and there's people around them that leave all the time. Gil Bates is just a different kind of patriarch, but all I'm going to say about the Bates right now, because so many of you refuse to see it, do not worship them. Gil Bates is on the board of this cult. He's a part of the horrible doctrine that teaches to own women as property, excuse rape and sexual assault, and the promotion of corporal punishment. Jim Bob is in third place. All right, I'll be back.